Some stories begin with joy, others with pain. This one begins with both: a boy's laugh on a spring morning and the sound of a dog's leash hitting the floor for the last time. The Hendersons lived at the edge of a small town bordered by dense woods, a place where you could still see stars at night, and the wind whispered secrets through the pine trees. They had a dog, a good dog. His name was Baxter, and then one day he was gone. Baxter had been with the Henderson family for 8 years. A loyal black Labrador with a grey muzzle and eyes that seemed to understand more than a dog should. He had grown up with Tommy, the youngest child, who was just 4 when they brought Baxter home. Every morning, Baxter would sit at the edge of the driveway as the school bus rumbled down the road. Every evening, he would nudge open Tommy's bedroom door with his nose and curl up on the rug like a silent sentinel. Then came that morning in May. Tommy forgot to latch the backyard gate. The wind howled through the trees, and when Mrs. Henderson stepped outside with a bowl of food, she found nothing but Baxter's collar, snapped loose, the tag glinting in the sun like a tooth. They searched for weeks. Flyers stapled to telephone poles, online posts, shelters checked, prayers whispered into pillows at night. But Baxter never came back. The town said coyotes, or maybe he wandered too far into the woods and got lost. But Tommy said he saw something that night, a shape in the woods, standing on 2 legs, watching the house. He never told anyone. 1 year later, almost to the day, it happened. It was twilight, the sky smeared with purples and blood oranges. The wind had returned, same as the day Baxter disappeared, and with it a low, keening sound from the woods, like a moan trapped in the trees. And then footsteps, heavy, slow. Mrs. Henderson peeked out the window and dropped the dish in her hand. There he was, Baxter. Same sleek black coat, same white patch on his chest, same wagging tail. But older now, gaunter, ribs showing beneath his fur, and his eyes, those once warm golden eyes, were now a cloudy dead grey, but Tommy didn't care. He sprinted to the door, tears already in his eyes. He wrapped his arms around the dog's neck, sobbing. And for a moment, everything was perfect again. The prodigal dog had returned. It started small. Baxter no longer responded to his name, not immediately. Sometimes he would freeze, as if thinking, calculating, before looking your way. He stopped sleeping in Tommy's room. Instead, he would stand in the hallway at night, just standing, facing Tommy's door, tail still, ears perked. At first, they thought it was trauma. Maybe whatever had happened to him in the woods had changed him. But then came the smell, rot, like damp earth, and something deeper, more primal. It clung to Baxter's fur like a shadow. Then the animals in the neighborhood began to vanish. A neighbor's cat, a rabbit cage broken open, the Hendersons' own chickens, all gone one morning without a trace. No blood, no mess, just silence. And Baxter would sit by the coop, watching the forest, unblinking. Tommy started having nightmares. He saw the woods, always the woods, and something in them, eyes, dozens of eyes glowing in the darkness. In the dreams, Baxter would be standing at the edge of the forest, but taller, standing on 2 legs, something writhing beneath his skin, and a voice deep like thunder underwater, whispering in Tommy's head, "You let me in." Tommy woke each night to scratching, not at the door, from inside the walls. One morning, Tommy didn't come down for breakfast. His door was locked from the inside. They had to break it down. He was sitting in the corner, pale, wide-eyed, clutching his chest. "There's something inside him," he said. "It's not Baxter. He's wearing Baxter." They tried to calm him, but he wouldn't eat, wouldn't sleep, just stared at the dog, who now followed him everywhere, never blinking. That night, Mr. Henderson stayed up. At 2:13 a.m., he heard the creak of the back door. He crept downstairs and saw Baxter, standing upright at the edge of the kitchen, just watching. And then Baxter's head tilted back, and from his throat came a sound no animal should make, like 1,000 whispers in a single breath. And behind him, shadows, moving, stretching. The kitchen lights flickered, and the walls began to bleed shadows like veins. Mr. Henderson collapsed. The next morning he couldn't remember any of it, just the sound, that awful, awful sound. Tommy knew what he had to do. He waited until the house was asleep, and Baxter was curled motionless at the foot of his bed. The boy stepped over him and snuck into the night. He brought a flashlight, a blanket, and Baxter's collar, and he went into the woods. The trees closed around him like ribs. For hours, nothing but the crunch of leaves and his own breath. Then a clearing, a perfect circle of earth, blackened and dead. At its center, a hole, no wider than a manhole, but seemingly bottomless, and around it bones. Animal bones, some not. And there at the edge sat another Baxter. The real one, or what remained, a skeleton, the collar still wrapped around its neck. The thing that came home was not Baxter. It was something that wore him, something summoned, and Tommy had let it in. When he returned home, the house was silent. Baxter stood at the top of the stairs. He opened his mouth and spoke, not barked, but spoke, in a voice that echoed like a cave. "You broke the seal." The walls trembled. Shadows burst from the corners, screaming without sound. But Tommy held up the old collar, the real one, the one still stained with Baxter's blood, and he whispered, "I'm sorry." Then he dropped it into the fire. The house roared, the shadows shrieked, and the thing that wore Baxter's skin let out a howl that split the sky, and it burned. All of it. They said it was a gas leak. The fire department found no remains of the dog, no bones, no ashes, just a perfect circle burned into the living room floor. The Hendersons moved away, started over. Tommy never got another dog. But sometimes at night, he hears scratching beneath the floorboards and a low voice just outside the window. "You let me in." Some stories begin with joy, others with pain, but some never end at all.